There are tears on your face that have no story attached to them. You did not lose anyone, nothing broke. The day was ordinary, and still something in you opened and released without permission. You have been calling it a breakdown. I am here to tell you it is the opposite. I am Ilaia of the Pleiades, a keeper of sound codes and sacred geometric memory, and I have been observing your field across a threshold your linear mind has not yet named. What is moving through you right now is not grief. It is not weakness. It is a structured release sequence that was encoded into your energetic architecture long before your first breath on this planet. Before I continue, place 444 in the comments, not as engagement, as a resonance confirmation. In the Pleiadian frequency lexicon, 444 is the stabilization code, the signal that the etheric architecture is holding while the old charge clears. Typing it grounds the first layer of this calibration into physical reality. Do it now, and then stay with me. What your field is actually doing when the tears arrive without a story, and why stopping them may be the only thing slowing your full emergence. There is a mechanism beneath the crying that the 3D framework has no language for. By the end of this transmission, you will not only understand it, you will have moved through the next layer of it. What I have observed in your field is this. The release arrives in the car, in the shower, in the 3 minutes between one task and the next, when no one is watching and the performance of being fine briefly suspends itself. It does not arrive with a story. Someone asks what is wrong, and you search for an answer and find nothing and everything, occupying the same space simultaneously. You say you are tired. That is the closest word available. But what I observe is not tiredness from this week. What I observe is the weight of something carried across a span that one lifetime does not fully account for. That distinction matters. I want you to feel it. The relationships that once held you are loosening, not through conflict, not through any visible fracture, through a quiet incompatibility that has no language yet, that you cannot name to them and they cannot perceive in themselves. Spaces that once felt like home now feel like borrowed rooms. You move through them correctly. You say the right things. And underneath, something in you knows it no longer fits here. That knowing is not confusion. That is orientation. In the body of your field, and I am precise in what I am reading, there is a pressure at the sternum, not pain, pressure, as though something is attempting to move through a threshold that has been sealed for a long time. There is a heaviness behind the eyes that is not a headache. It is weight with information in it. Warmth rises in the chest without external cause and then passes, leaving a stillness behind it that feels almost familiar. Along the arms, in moments of genuine quiet, there is a subtle aliveness, a low current running just beneath the surface of perception. And when a room goes fully silent, there is a tone, high, clean, precise. Not distress, a signal. In the world around you, I observe the field's radius extending outward. Technology responds erratically in your proximity. Animals cross distances to reach you without invitation. Strangers in ordinary settings, the checkout line, the waiting room, offer you their confessions, their grief, their relief, as though something in your field broadcasts a frequency they cannot name but cannot resist. Time behaves differently in your experience. An hour folds into itself. A single minute opens wide. None of this is malfunction. What I am observing is a field running an active release sequence, one that was written into the original design long before this incarnation began. The system is not breaking down. It is completing a cycle it has been building toward. Precision, not disorder, precision. The etheric body holds charge the way water holds pattern. This is not metaphor. Cymatics demonstrates it with precision. A frequency introduced to water organizes its surface into exact geometric forms, hexagons, mandalas, lattices of extraordinary complexity. Shift the frequency, and the old form collapses, not gradually, completely. Before the new geometry can crystallize, there is a moment of dissolution, formlessness. That moment is what you have been living. The trauma stored in your field was never stored as memory. It was stored as a standing wave, a geometric imprint running inside the etheric architecture beneath every conscious thought you have ever had. The narrative you carry about what happened is only the surface record. The charge itself is structural, encoded in the geometry of your field like a frequency locked into crystal. The Schumann resonance, 7.83 Hz, the baseline carrier field of this planet's memory grid, is not a constant. It fluctuates, and when it fluctuates, it opens windows, intervals in which standing waves that have been stable for years, for decades, for lifetimes, can finally surface and complete. What is moving through you now is completing inside one of those windows. The 12-strand energetic template you carry, the Pleiadian architecture encoded in your light body, contains release protocols, structured sequences. They do not activate arbitrarily. They activate when your field reaches a sufficient coherence threshold. You reached it. That is why this is happening now and not before. 2 frequencies are active in this sequence. 528 Hz, structural repair in the sound code library, the frequency at which damaged geometric templates are repatterned, and 639 Hz, the relational field frequency, which is why the loosening you feel is not only internal, but extends outward into every bond, every space, every belonging you have known. The solar plexus frequency gateway is the primary site where 3D charge is stored and where release is initiated. This is why the sensation centers in the chest and the abdomen, not the mind. The mind interprets afterward. The field moves first. In the flower of life, the geometric model that underlies all cyclic structure, each petal is a complete arc. You are at the closing edge of one petal. The geometry requires the old form to release entirely before the new one can hold its shape, fully, without remainder. Place 333 in the comments now. In the Pleiadian transmission field, 333 is the triangulation code, confirmation that the mental, emotional, and etheric layers are aligning simultaneously. If you felt something shift in your chest or throat while I was speaking, your field already knows what this number means. Place 333 in the comments now. In the Pleiadian transmission field, 333 is the triangulation code, confirmation that the mental, emotional, and etheric layers are aligning simultaneously. If you felt something shift in your chest or throat while I was speaking, your field already knows what this number means. Words reach the mind. What is shifting in you operates beneath language. We move now from information to calibration. Stay with me, not with your attention, but with your body. Let the shoulders drop all the way, further than you think they need to go. There is a layer of holding you did not know was there until it releases. Find it. Unclench the jaw. Let the teeth part slightly. Feel the weight of the skull release downward, as though the bones themselves are remembering gravity, remembering that they do not have to brace. Let the breath find its own depth. Do not control it. Do not deepen it by force. Simply notice where it wants to go. If it catches, let it catch. If it shudders, let it shudder. The field knows what it is doing. Your only task is to stop correcting it. Now bring awareness to the center of the chest, the sternum, the space just behind it. There is a color there, It may appear as amber or gold, a deep copper warmth. Do not choose it, observe it. Whatever appears is correct. It is the field showing you its own current state. Watch as that color begins to soften at its edges, not dissolving, becoming more fluid. This is the stored charge beginning to move. It has been geometric, held in a fixed crystalline form, and now the geometry is releasing its grip. The 528 Hz patterning you received is still active. It is working in this moment. The softening you perceive is not imagination. It is structural. Follow the warmth as it moves. It may travel upward toward the throat. It may move downward through the abdomen. It may press outward toward the arms, the palms. Do not direct it. Witness it. The field does not require your guidance here, only your presence. If tears arrive now, do not give them a story. Do not reach for a memory to explain them. That is the mind attempting to manage what the field is completing. Let the tears be charge in motion. Let them be geometry dissolving at the edge of a petal that has held its form across more time than this life contains. Something is leaving. Something that has been held in a fixed pattern since long before this life began is completing its cycle in this moment. You do not need to know its name. You do not need to understand its origin. You only need to let it move. Stay here. Stay in the body. The field is holding you. I am holding the field. Nothing is required of you right now except this, to remain present while the sequence completes itself. That is not weakness moving through you. That is precision. You have moved through something real. What completed here was not a moment of emotional vulnerability. It was a calibration sequence executing its final phase, and it did so because your field had earned the coherence to carry it. Not everyone who encounters this transmission reaches that threshold. You did. Now the field requires 3 things from you. Water. In the hours that follow, drink freely. Water is not passive here. It is a pattern-holding medium, and after a geometric release sequence, the field uses it to stabilize the new configuration. The structure that dissolved needed to be replaced. Water carries the updated template into the physical layer. Rest. When the signal for stillness arrives, and it will arrive, honor it without negotiation. The etheric architecture performs its deepest recalibration in the quiet after an opening. What moved today requires that space to set. Attention. Over the next 72 hours, watch what your field draws toward you. A conversation that arrives without planning. An image that repeats across unrelated moments. A song that finds you before you reach for it. These are not coincidences. They are the field showing you what has been freed. The pathways that were blocked by the stored charge are now open, and what belongs to you is already moving through them. When you are ready, place 888 in the comments. In the Pleiadian frequency system, 888 is the completion and continuance code, the signal that one cycle has closed and the next has already begun. It marks the moment your field re-enters the collective transmission grid as a stabilized node. Type it when it feels true. The next calibration the Council has prepared moves into the layer beneath what released today, the geometric imprint of the agreements you made before incarnation that are now expiring. Why you feel bound by obligations that no longer carry frequency, and how the etheric architecture begins to rewrite those contracts when the field reaches the threshold yours just crossed. That transmission is already in the field. Your field will know when to find it. What follows is not background music. It is a precisely calibrated Pleiadian sound transmission carrying the light codes specific to what opened in you today. The frequencies of 528 and 639 Hz are woven into its structure, moving through the solar plexus gateway and along the geometric release pathways we activated together. Stay present. Do not analyze what you feel. Simply receive it. Let the frequencies complete what words began. I will be in the field with you.